All right, next project. This is a late 1800s Hendey Machine Company planer. This is Walcottville, Connecticut. Now, I think in 1881, maybe a little bit later, that either merged with or became Torrington, Connecticut, which is when you see Hendey Machine Company, that you always see Torrington, Connecticut. When I got this, it was in pretty bad shape. It's been, I think, 3 years, but I went ahead and cleaned this a little bit when I got it, just to be able to run the surface and dial indicator over the surface as I ran it back and forth. And I don't remember what it was, but it was so good that I did it multiple times because I couldn't believe that it was that good. So it's embarrassing I can't remember it, but it was good. So we'll find that out later. All right, so what's up with this one? I mean, it needs a full restoration, but among other things, this is supposed to be an Acme lead screw, and at some point in time, it was replaced with the 60 degree, which would give it finer access, but I don't really think that that's what we want on this. So one of the things is to, as we take this apart, take that out, look at how easy is it to replace the nut and the lead screw. So that's number one. I've already looked at the ways, they're pretty good. I mean, they weren't good, but I got them better. The clutch, the wheel that slides in between these two is frozen, and these are stuck together. So that's not gonna work, but we plan on taking that apart anyway. This whole mechanism here, this handle, obviously not original. I'll probably try to find something a little bit more like what it would have been. This mechanism, fortunately, is not missing. I do have that. Basically, as this, like the shaper, as this goes back and forth, it pushes this rod up and down, and the distance from the center is the amount that it pushes up or pulls down, which moves this whole thing up and down, which rotates this, which either will push, go over this way, catch, and then as it goes down, it pulls it. So that's your feed. This is the mechanism here for switching between forward and reverse. I can't tell you much about it because I don't know how it works, other than how the shaper works. It's the same friction drive arrangement as the shaper. Since the shaper is younger than this, the shaper would have evolved from what this is. The whole drive is rack and pinion. It's a big gear down here. Yeah, look at that. There's lots of little neat details. I'm not sure what this is. I think it locks it in position. But if you look at the other side, where did it go? It has a piece. Let me walk around. I'll show you one more thing at the front. The paint's flaking off. If you look down here, this says maybe 6P, 5, 6, 7, maybe inches. I'm not sure what that means. But HMCO, Hendey Machine Company. So it's possible, I'm speculating, but it's possible that this could be what was put on the casting. It could be, I don't know. Love to know the history behind that. We're gonna repaint this. I'm not sure if I'm painting over this and then letter it back, or if I'm just not gonna paint that area. We'll find out. The 249 here. I don't know if that's an inventory tag from whoever had it, or if that might have been the serial number. But I do know as we take it apart, we should find the pieces stamped with either the serial number or parts of it. So if we start seeing, I guess in this case it'd be 49 or maybe just 9, then we'll know. All right, so what I wanted to show you here is this little guy. I think what that does is allow you to quickly get this to 90 degrees. That's pretty neat. All right, so much like the shaper, I'm just gonna take off all of these moving things, get them cleaned and make them move again. And when we get it down to the base machine and base casting, we'll go and get the paint off and repaint it. Then we'll shine and polish and fix all the parts we took off and put them back on. All right, we got these, I think these are grease cups. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it did have oil in it. All right, so we got bolt. That looks like a lock washer. I don't know what that is. And then we got that. Sorry. Bolt, lock washer, big washer. Not sure what that is. Got a little oil cap here. Get another one of these oil things in there. This definitely looks a little different than the shaper. Very different. All right, and a cap up there. This, I think, must move that forward and backwards. Not sure how that works. All right, top. Looks like maybe these are pinned, yeah. Bolts. Maybe for the gib. Screws up there. I'm sure this was supposed to have something. Probably if we make one, this should be threaded on the end. Double knot washer. There's a 19 right there. Got that there. Two maybe threaded collars. They're definitely not original. So the question is, where does that go to? Not sure what that is. So rather in the shaper, this was a whole, this outside was whole. I hope that that's the way this is supposed to be and it's not broken. I guess it could be. That would be unfortunate. You know, looking at it here, it seems that this area here is brazed. A lot of buildup on here. Right here. Same thing here. So I don't know if they brazed this to add it, and the original disc and the original friction pulley was not all the way around, or disc, or if this had a catastrophic failure and that's the way they fixed it. Looks like we've got the same tapered pin arrangement. I think this end is probably smaller. I'll bring you back when I get this figured out. Okay, so here's what we have. One of the things that was confusing me, it was hard to tell which side was smaller. And then there was these two screws that went in sort of at an angle toward the key. So I'm not sure what that was. And now you can see, I'm not sure if this was a whole wheel at one point all the way around and it broke and they cut it, or maybe it wore so much that instead of building the whole thing up, they just broke it into pieces and then essentially put little feet on here. Or that's the way it was originally. But you can see that this is clearly brazed built up on the cast iron. Now I did get these loose. That wasn't that big a problem. And I did get the pin. So it just required a little bit bigger. So the trick is getting a big punch, but not too big so it'll go through the hole. So wiggle that out. Right, see how easy that comes out? And you get the punch. I'll pull that out and we'll take a closer look inside. Okay, got the pin out. That comes off easy, that's good. Okay, so this looks familiar. That's just like the shaper. Different screw. That's easy though, because that'll come out easier. And then yeah, so this looks, it's obvious now that we figured it out on the other one. What you see down in there is the internal shaft, the inside shaft. So it's what moves back and forth and moves that friction disc wheel this way and that way. Okay, so other than that wheel being different than what was on the shaper, it looks similar so far. So go ahead and get this wheel off. Okay, so those screws were obviously not original, but I'm glad they were in there because they're easier to get out. And then this is certainly not like the shaper. It sort of slides under both. I don't know if this is a replacement or that's original, but I do note that there's more than one hole, screw hole in there, bolt hole. So I imagine that maybe something went wrong and that's how it was replaced. And it looks like, yes, indeed. So this wheel just slides off, whereas the other one did not. All right, and then, okay. All right, well, we'll take this off and keep on going. Okay, one of the things that bothers me a little bit is that is the play on this shaft. I don't think that this shaft, this outside part, is supposed to move in and out. And I think given that the way, since the inside is going to slide back and forth and move the wheel, that's going to make it sort of relative. When you push this guy here forward and backwards, it's going to push both the inside and the outside, and I think that's going to be a problem, which means all of this needs to come out, which means the gears underneath are probably going to have to come out, which is more than I really wanted to do since this thing did operate and move back and forth. But I think that needs to be adjusted. I think, see, it's really critical since I need a neutral. I need the friction wheel in the middle and not rubbing either one of them. That's the way I've got the shaper working that way, and that's the way I'm going to need this one. So it's going to be critical to have that alignment correct. So we're going to proceed forward. If we run into any real trouble, we're probably just going to stop. I think the easiest way to get that back part is to get the front, the control part off this one rod. So see, this comes as one piece here. We got the spacer, and then we've got a spring. Now, what this does is as this moves back and forth, the sensitivity of when this is going to push the clutch wheel back and forth is based on when it hits, as it comes out and it hits this. So, and this is a guess, I haven't seen this, but just playing around with it. So if you screw this way in, as a little movement here is going to catch sooner and pull that out, which is going to move the clutch wheel. And then, of course, since this has to continue moving, that's why they have the spring, because it still needs that much travel. So, let's see if we can pull this back. Not one-handed anyway. But this should, yeah, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. I think what I'm gonna do, since I'm here and I'm gonna open a bag for parts on this, go ahead and take this apart. And then we'll move to the next thing. Okay, for sure, these are not original. It comes out. And then this appears to be, yeah, like a Gibbs screw. I don't see a gib here, so I'm not sure how that works. Guess we're gonna find out in a minute. It's handy. Probably not original. I'm seeing signs that planer was used a good bit, so I mean, after nearly 150 years old, I guess so. All right. Okay. Oh, spring on this side. Oh, okay. So there's your gib. How about that? So there's a little disc in there, and then you screw that in on this side and pushes against it. That's neat. So one of I noticed on that shaft I had a bunch of extra screw holes, bolt holes. This has that same thing, but I mean, clearly no one was trying to put something else there, so I don't know. Maybe that's part of how it was originally done, part of the construction. What's up with the two right there? It's odd. One of the things I want to do is clean this up and see if I can find a number stamped on it. See if it matches the 19 that we saw up there. He got it cleaned up some, and I don't see any stamping, any numbers anywhere. That's sort of unfortunate. Or it's disappointing. It's not unfortunate. It's just, it's, you know, my lathe was not like that. There were only certain things that were like a unit. I bet we'll find that this whole assembly up here is all stamped 19. The lathe was like that. My cross slide assembly was stamped with one number and something else was stamped with another. One mystery that is solved is these two holes right here are probably pins. You can see it puts that in there. So those were locating pins. And they're not there, which means, you know, obviously this was taken apart and those were lost at some point. No biggie. All right, so I think now this is free, and move to the back and see how all this comes apart. Looks like maybe that's a knot there. Unscrew that, that comes out. Yeah, who knows? Should be fun. Well, now I have no idea how that was together. Okay, so I think those two bolts I took out right here, it looks like that holds this, the nut for the lead screw in place. Probably holds it right there. And I think, yeah, so you can see it right here. Like that. So when you take those out, I guess you can see it right there. I couldn't see it because it was one piece. Sort of get that to come out, and then you can get this out. But wow, that's pretty wild. So this right here appears to be Oh, this right here moves this down. So it controls the down feed. So the down feed in macro major movement is with this guy up here, and you move the whole thing up and down. You move this up and down. The down feed while you're cutting is done with this. So right there, this runs over to here. It's a gear arrangement. So when it gets to the end, it can go down one. So that's pretty wild. Here's the little part that went flying. And I guess, yeah, so that goes in like that. And then, where'd the lead screw go? So this whole thing holds that in place. Okay. And so that goes on that. That's pretty cool. So this is keyed right here. That's probably why it was so hard to get out there at the end, that it's keyed on there. And that's probably the key. Wow, that is a tiny little thing. Okay. All right, so I guess this comes out from the back. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm backing the lead screw out. This is the replacement one. It's supposed to be Acme thread instead of a 60-degree thread. You can kind of see how this is sort of hacked to fit. And of course that handle that was on there was not right either. So I believe we'll be replacing this. I think the only thing that I see is going to cause me a problem is I don't think I'm going to be able to buy, you know, I don't even think, yeah, I'm not going to be able to buy this lead screw with that part unthreaded. I don't know. Maybe McMaster-Carr doesn't have that, so maybe I can get it through the internet. We'll see. I got this lead screw out, and the one that was above it. And we've got a bit of an enigma. Let me see if I can get the camera in. Basically, I can't get it off. I thought it would just slide off the end. But of course, let me get down in there. Yeah, you can see this assembly here won't go past the end, of course. So I don't know. Somehow or other, this must come out. I mean, that's obvious, but I'm not sure how. I guess you just turn this a little bit and then it falls off unexpectedly and the parts scatter. You can see there's a keyway in that shaft that was on the top. So I still haven't figured out exactly how it controls the down feed. I think that the way this works is at the end, there's gears out here. Basically, it knows that if it goes around a certain amount, it's gone all the way to the end. And then that can tick this over 1. And then that goes into here, it turns this and sends the cutter down. That's a guess. I don't know for sure. Hopefully we can get it all back together and running, and then we'll find out for sure. But right now I got to figure out how to get this thing off. I really don't know. I don't see one of these just magically coming off. I can take this off the bridge, but I mean, it's not gonna do anything. Oh boy, it's fun. There has to be some, I don't know, secret. Yeah. Oh, jeez. How about that? I don't know, maybe it just pulls out. Ow. Yay, oh, okay. So now I do know. This right here goes in the top. I thought it was a pretty long bolt. And it goes down into that slot there, which keeps this in there. Okay, well, cool. So I was pretty much right. You turn this around enough and it's just gonna fall out unexpectedly. All right, so that's good. All right, so you can see that's that key that went in the long shaft. Then, okay, so that pushes out from this side. Okay, it's neat. And then these 2 screws, bolts, are going to take this assembly off the back, and then we can slide this off. Cool. All right, and taking the nut out, this whole unit, and it's interesting to note that it's got a shim on it. Okay, and then this, if we replace the lead screw with an Acme one, then this is what we'll need to, wow, I don't know, what would you, bore that out, ream it, fill it, and thread it? Or, oh, wait a minute. It looks like, you see that mark right there? And the other one, it looks like maybe that is maybe peened into there. So maybe that whole thing comes out, maybe? Let's look at that. That definitely looks beyond my skill level, for sure. But now if it comes out, it's possible I could get a, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, you get a nut that's that long and the right diameter to go down in there, or, boy. Might be living with the 60-degree threaded lead screw. All right, well, we'll cross that bridge later. Let's get the rest of this done. All right, needle scaler is done. Boy, that's some work. Now, if you remember, we had this, maybe the 6P, 567, and an HMC, Hendey Machine Company. Now I found another piece over here. And that's maybe 8P535. So it doesn't mean I know what they mean, but I just thought that was neat. That's on this piece right here. It looks like there was a sticker there at some point as well. Unfortunately, while crawling around underneath it, to needle scale the inside, I might need to get a light. This pulley's cracked right there. So that's not good. Very unfortunate. I'm not gonna do anything about it right now. This is the top view here. I should bring it around. I can't, where is it? Somewhere on there. There it is. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Maybe stitching? I don't know. But right now I'm not gonna do anything on it. I'm gonna put it back together. I think she deserves a nice retirement. I'm sure it'll be able to plane everything that I will need planed. I'm probably just gonna leave that for now. It's just got a little bit of damage on it, but it's not that bad. She's old. All right, now I gotta get this mess cleaned up. I need to go in and change. It's probably got lead in this, or a respirator, but now it's time to get out of these clothes, make sure it's clean, make sure I don't get any of this in me. Big difference a coat of paint makes, isn't it? Okay, so next up, all the pieces that we took off. They need to be cleaned. Some of them, a couple of them are painted. And then the big effort, I mean, obviously we need to paint these pans on the inside, is flip the table over and look at the underside, make sure it's all right. And I checked, this weighs 800 pounds. So not something I'm gonna be flipping, just picking up. I think the plan right now is put that eye bolt in right here, use the hoist, chain hoist, bring it up, and then move it over a little bit, set it on a 2x4, and then let it down on the other side. Hopefully that goes smoothly. Got the table back on, got it cleaned up, it turned out really nice. So everything is ready to go back on. These are just sitting here really because I ran out of space to put things. None of it's connected up yet. All right, so I got these oiled up. I think the thing to do is just put that on and start from there and get it back together. Here's a neat detail here. Here's that little key. It goes into keyway. It's actually got a pin. And then the key appears to be tapered. I think that's probably on purpose. So this goes in like that. And then the pin goes down to hold it in place. Which makes a lot of sense, because I was wondering how in the world I was going to be able to hold that in there and get it in place on this. So I think that's the answer. They had a little locating pin for it. Let's see how that works. It slides in there. Okay, so hopefully we've actually got the order correct, and the next step would be to slide this over a little bit, run the screws in here, bolts in here, and then put the base on. Run the base on, run this down, it holds it in. All right, you can see now how that interfaces with here. So this is a down feed, or I guess feed rod would be the appropriate word. As it turns here, and as we mount this, you can look on the other side and see where it comes out. Eventually it's going to slide and make it go down like that. One of the big advantages to this guy is that it's a hollow point, a hollow ground, so it sits in the screws better, sits in the slot better. Okay. So, last part is this guy. All right, obviously we need to polish this up before that goes on. One other thing I just never noticed when I was taking this apart is, what are all these for? One, these two, and who? They're not used. So maybe mounting some kind of vise to it? Some kind of extra, I don't know. So it's very interesting. I have no idea why that's there. Yeah, so I don't know what those other holes are for. Okay, I got some more information on how this down feed works. So that shaft, this one you see here, runs inside the Acme lead screw part, which goes down. You remember seeing those bevel gears, which comes in, goes to this guy, which goes to here. This goes down to that, goes over to here, and then you've got this rack. And then the rack is moved up and down here by this guy down there. And see, he's moving this would be feeding the table. And see how that goes like that. And that's moving the rack down, turns that gear, which will turn this on the inside, which comes up to the top and turns that. Now, what's cool about this is how they've got these little ramps with an edge. And then right here, this little pawl. You see that? Yeah, okay. And then if you want to turn the feet off, you push this down, push this in, and then it's locked out. And so it will turn all day long, but not advance anything. And then this has a keyway. You can put a key right there. So as this turns, it will actually turn the crank handle, which does the feed. That's pretty cool. And then of course, this same rack system turns this gear. And then I don't have it on right now, but there's this the mechanism comes out here and it has the same type pawl and pushes this forward, which then turns and slides, I guess you call it the cross slide across. You see that moving a little bit? All right, so that's gonna wrap up this video. I'd love to cut some with it, but I've got a good bit more to do on this before I can get to that. This needs to go into the next room, which is gonna be the machine shop. And it's going to be connected with the shaper that's sitting side by side off of a line shaft, just for the two of them. So I do know that there's going to need to be some tuning on this. I got these separated and that works pretty good, but there's a little bit too much play in here. This can go over and then it will also engage while this is here. So I'm going to need to shim that out. It has a shim in there, but I guess that's worn down. And then figure out some way of having this. This is just it. And watch as I pull it backwards, I go forward. It moves the inside. You can see the gear on the inside right there. Yeah. So it moves the friction wheel back between these two pulleys. I'm going to need to get a position on here for essentially neutral. I need to figure out how that's going to work. And then it didn't come with a lantern tool post. So I'm either going to fabricate one or see if I can locate one. I haven't had a good time finding one. This is 1 3/4 there and 1 1/4 radius there. So I'll keep looking for one. If not, I'll have to make one. All right, well, that's going to wrap this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.